So what if I told you that there's a conversation that you've been avoiding? You've rehearsed it in your head. You've justified delaying it over and over and over again. You've even sold yourself this story that now is not the right time to have this conversation. But deep down, you watching this episode, you know the truth. That conversation is standing between you and the next level in your business, the next level in that relationship, maybe in your marriage as a parent, the next level in life. That conversation is standing between you and relief, liberty, and peace. I've seen this in every single area of my life. As a parent, having to sit with my kids, having to sit with their grandparents, my parents, for a conversation that both of them absolutely do not appreciate, because I always say, they've got a common enemy, which is me. As a spouse, maybe navigating differences without letting ego run the show, because typically ego can stand in the way. As a professional in financial services, as a business owner, where we've had to let people go, confront performance issues, inspire teams when the energy is low, and hold top performers accountable to an even higher standard, or even to the standard that they've set for themselves. Being the bad guy, being okay with being the bad guy. But how do you navigate through this? How do you find a skill and a framework that you can apply? These are all crucial conversations. The kind the book Crucial Conversations describe as moments where stakes are high, firstly. Secondly, emotions are strong. And thirdly, opinions differ. And unless we build the skill set to handle these conversations well, we will either avoid them or handle them so badly that the relationship takes damage. So today, in this episode, I want to give you a playbook, a framework, a couple of steps that you can implement immediately to move the needle. Simple, sharp, practical, so the next time you step into one of these moments, you're grounded, confident, and effective. And I believe the more you start stepping into leadership, the more these sort of conversations will come to the table, and the more these conversations will differentiate yourself and set you up in a higher level of leadership. And if you find value out of this video, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button for weekly updates. So firstly, very, very important, mindset. You as a leader, again, watching this episode, you as a leader, you set the tone. So let's start there. As a leader, you always need to keep your emotions in the room. You always need to keep your bubble in the middle. One of my mentors, Quentin Doman, he spoke about this amazing concept by keeping the bubble in the middle. As a leader, you can't walk into the conversation here. As a parent, when I need to have a serious conversation with my kids, I can't walk in here. I have to keep the emotions here. Walk in calm, prepared, and curious, genuinely curious to try and understand that point of view. You pull them into that space too. Your job in that conversation is to keep the conversation, to stay in dialogue. You can't go off the rails. Too much emotion, off the rails. Too cold, off balance. Too attached to being right, off the rails. You gotta first get your state of mind ready. You gotta make sure that doesn't matter what, you stay in dialogue. What is a crucial conversation? We spoke about the three points about a crucial conversation. Let me give you a couple of examples. A crucial conversation isn't a difficult talk. A lot of people think a crucial conversation is a difficult debate. Firstly, as I said, high stakes. So high stakes mean that the outcome matter. It's not we're not talking about Mickey Mouse. It's a high valuable conversation. The outcome is very important. Strong emotions. Because the relationship matters. If the relationship didn't matter, there's no strong emotions involved. I won't engage in the conversation because it doesn't really matter, but the relationship matters. And then opposing views. You might think it's green, I think it's blue. So there's opposite. Where do we meet each other in the middle? And this is where people do one or two things. Firstly, as the book said, they go silent. So they don't share anything. They sugarcoat. You can see in their smile, it's fake. They withhold information, they avoid the conversation, or they simply get up. I've been in we had a Zoom conflict the other day, and the guy's just like, I have to go, my next meeting is up. We're in the middle of a conversation, we're in the middle of having an opposite view of this individual. He just leaves the Zoom, and still to this day, we haven't had the conversation. And secondly, they go over aggressive. They blame, they corner, they lecture, they think they're driving the conversation is about them. They're actually ignorant in that space where It's a little bit of an ego play. It's a power play. The goal of a crucial conversation is not to dominate or surrender. You don't want to be this side of the spectrum, that side of the spectrum. You want to be in the middle. You want to stay in dialogue. You want to hear, but you also want to be heard. Like Stephen Covey says that seek first to understand before trying to be understood, and start with the end in mind. The end is a win-win outcome. And you don't want to damage the trust. You don't want to damage the relationship. So start there. Start with that in mind when you have the conversation. So now, if you're still listening to this video, now that you know what a crucial conversation looks like and what it sounds like, I want you to try and apply the following framework. And I will also set this in the description so that you can try and apply this each and every single time when you prepare for a meeting, prepare for a conversation that you know might get heated or might be a crucial conversation. So firstly, start with the heart. Before you speak, ask yourself, what do I want for me? What do I want for them? What do I want for our relationship? If you want to punish, you'll talk one way. If you want progress, you'll talk a complete other way. So start with the heart. Keep your ego aside and keep your intentions clean. It helps you to create a win-win. So if you know exactly immediately what your emotions are, immediately will also change the temperature of the room. Secondly, make it safe. No one opens up when they feel attacked. So if you start that conversation, you start, immediately nobody is safe. So you create safety by expressing respect. Listen, first of all, I value our relationship. Purpose, my goal is alignment, not to blame. I want us to be aligned. I want us to get the same outcome. I want the business to win. The business takes preference above this conversation. And I might get parts of this wrong. Please help me understand, because currently I've got a certain story that I formulated in my head. Help me, fill the gaps for me. That is how you create a safety net for people to engage. And when people feel safe, they speak truthfully. They speak from their heart. And when they feel threatened, they shut up. They either go silent or they go over-aggressive. Master your own stories. We don't react to facts. This is true. We don't react to our facts. We react to the story that we sell ourselves. So let me maybe explain. The other day, one of our employees was late for a meeting. So firstly, the first thing I think is she doesn't care about this meeting. That's the first thing I think. So I'm going to react immediately. If I don't know myself, I'm going to react to that story that I'm selling myself. One of my kids didn't do, so we've got this currency system in our house where if, for example, if they give the dog food, if they go fill up the dog food bowl, then they get $20. It wasn't done. So what happened was my son actually injured his leg. That's factually, he injured his leg by playing rugby. My story was he's being disrespectful. I'm just being honest. My story was he's being respectful. So immediately my engagement is from an emotional perspective, from a story, which isn't even true. So before you start the conversation, ask yourself, what story are you selling yourself? Is there maybe another story? This keeps you objective, not emotional. Then the fourth one, state your path. State your path. Use this framework, state. Let me explain. So the first one, the acronym STATE, the first one S is share the facts. Over the last 30 days, you've missed targets. You've arrived late twice. You've been booked off medically, in the last year, more than your sick leave. State the facts. T, tell your story. And this is what worries, let me give you an example. This is what worries me because it impacts client trust, or you drop the ball. Let me explain my view on this. A, ask for a perspective. Example, help me understand what's happening here from your side. So I've shared the facts, I've shared my point of view. Help me understand what is your point of view. T, state. So the T, talk tentatively. I may be seeing this wrong. I might have a blind spot here. And then E, encourage testing. If you disagree, please push back. If you disagree, please state your facts. Listen, I want to make it safe for you. If you don't think I'm being fair, please hit back at some valid points that I'm missing. This framework lets you say tough things without destroying trust. Again, so you can still convey your message. You've stated the facts, your point of view, get the input, but you don't destroy the conversation and burn the bridge. Very important when you go into a conversation, I want to maybe end here as well, is prepare for conversations. Like proper preparation, always say this to our team, proper preparation prevents poor performance. So what outcome do you want after the conversation? Are you willing to let go of this relationship? Or is this relationship important to you? This prevents ego-driven reactions. And again, as I said, start by lowering the temperature. So even if you're selling yourself a story and you feel the temperature is rising, you're going to go into that conversation completely wrong. So prepare by getting your temperature right. Stick to facts, not labels. If there's facts, it creates calm. Labels create defensiveness. So get the facts, get all the facts. If you need to do more research, get more research. If let's say it's a person that hasn't honored meetings before, get all that information on record so that there's no gray area. It's black or white. For example, yesterday, if you missed this meeting, also if you can factually say you've missed this meeting, it's much better wording as opposed to saying you're unreliable. And you've got nothing to back it up. And then use the STATE framework. It works every time. It works with your kids. It works with teams, with partners, clients, every conversation. Because again, as I said, this conversations isn't just business oriented. This conversation comes up in your personal life as well. And then lastly, end with clear agreements. A conversation without action is just a therapy session. So clear agreements moving forward. Let me give you an example. Who will do what? So moving forward, how are we gonna build on this relationship? By when? Put a date to it. How will you follow up with, 3-4 action items that will avoid this happening again? Can I trust you? When can we meet up again? Like what systems, what stuff are we gonna put in place for us to avoid this happening again? So these action items happening. And then if this is the first time that you're watching this, I want you to apply this stuff. I want you to move the needle. I want to practically see you excel, and comment in the comment box below and say, listen, Steph, I've actually appreciate your content. I've applied this in my personal life, in my marriage, in my business, and it's working. Try one of this. Try the framework. Try the tips that I've shared with you. Prepare for a meeting. Even if you just start by sharing the facts and sharing your point of view and getting that point of view and trying to stay in the middle. Start with heart, make it safe, master your stories, move to action, and try to ask yourself, what is some of the conversations that you've been avoiding? I know there's some conversations that I still need to have. I know it. And it's not a threat. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to improve. It's an opportunity for you to level up. It's an opportunity for you to go deeper in that relationship. Leaders don't avoid tough conversations. They transform them. Very important. They transform them. They set the tone. As a leader, it's your responsibility to set the tone for a conversation. So if this is the first time that you've watched one of our episodes, go down to the bottom of this page, share some comments, share some thoughts, some of the stuff you want us to chat about. Like button, subscribe button for future content. Share this, maybe with your spouse, maybe with a business partner. And remember, until next time, plan the plan.